Okay. Welcome to Monday Night Hatha practice, everybody. If you have access to two blocks and a strap, go ahead, grab those things, or a belt. If you don't, we'll modify, do the best that we can without them. Tonight's practice, we're going to be down on the mat a lot. My intention, my focus is going to be more of like the hips and hip flexor, glute area, inner thighs. So we're going to be on the mat a lot. And let's see, we're recording. Awesome. Find your way onto your mat in any way that is comfortable. So maybe easy seated, maybe child's pose, maybe lying on your back. I always forget this chair. Whatever asana you are finding, go ahead and close your eyes. We start our practice by turning our attention inward, connecting with our own breath. Find your breath coming in through the nose and out through the nose. Breath in for 3. Breath out for 3. As we turn our attention inward, connect with our breath, we come a little closer into our physical body, our emotional body, our mental body. Connect, feel, notice. As we move through our physical poses, you will be listening to the wisdom that your body has to offer you. And then you're modifying, challenging, changing, whatever you need. Before we move on, let's join in collective intention. This evening, our physical practice is going to be centered more around the hips and hip flexors and glute area. The hips in life are about balance, and they're also about going forward or being stuck in the past. So our collective intention can be to go forward with ease, letting go of anything that no longer serves us. So if you'd like to translate that into a sentence, maybe I go forward with ease in my life. I let go of things that no longer serve. You can breathe that into your space. Breath in and breath out. Breath in and breath out. Go ahead and open your eyes if you've had them closed. Wherever you're at, I want you to make your way onto your knees. So if you're in easy seated, you can roll forward. If you're in child's pose, you can walk yourself back. Come on to the hands and knees. Breath in. On your exhale, go right into a cat stretch, rounding your back, tucking the chin. Option to come up on the fingertips. Navel to spine, stay here. Breath in, breath out. 1 One more breath in. On your exhale, walk your hands all the way towards your knees. You can have the toes tucked, and then you're going to come up on the knees. Bring your hands to your low back. Take a breath in through your nose. On your exhale, draw your navel into your spine. Feel free to pull up on that pelvic floor as well, root lock, and then hinge forward using the strength of your core. You're going to bring your forehead down towards the mat. Inhale, reverse dive, come back up. Maybe just a little chest opening. If it feels good in your neck, you could shift the focal point and look up. If not, keep the focal point straight ahead. Breath in. Exhale, diving forward, navel to spine, pelvic floor engaged, pulling up from the bottom, all the way down, forehead touches. Inhale, reverse dive, come back up, little chest opener, shoulder blades together and down the back. Option to look straight ahead or drop. Breath in. Exhale, diving forward, navel to spine. Forehead comes down, kisses the mat. Reverse dive, inhale, back up, open the chest, drop the head, maybe. Let's do one more. Breath in. Exhale, diving forward. Inhale, come back up, reverse dive. And exhale back to a table, walking the hands onto the mat, spreading the fingers nice and wide, allowing the hands to be about hips width apart or even wider. You can try always a wide downward dog is a nice variation. Tuck the toes, reach the hips high. A little bit of movement here to begin. Pedaling the knees, shifting the hips. Maybe rotating the chest. Get conscious about where you're pressing into your hands. Notice if your hands tent up so that your knuckles are lifting away from the mat. Press your knuckles back down. Breath in. Breath out. We're not going to do a lot with the upper body today, but just to get some movement, get a little warm. Inhale, roll like your ocean wave out into a plank. Stack your shoulders, elbows, and wrists. Option always to be on the knees or the forearms. Knit the rib cage back together. Really push the mat away. Chin is slightly open. Let the breath flow easily. Breath in. Exhale, downward dog. Still bringing some movement in. We're going to do that 2 more times, but kind of pause in between each one and find movement if that feels needed. On your next inhale, roll like an ocean wave, navel to spine, float out. Stay here, a little softness in your elbows, really strong thighs. Breath in, breath out. On your exhale, down dog, lift the hips. Feel free to move. Let's do that once more. Inhale, float to your plank. Take your variations, get strong. On your exhale, downward dog. Downward dog. Inhale the right leg high. Reach the toes up. Square the hip and shoulder. So that means right hip, right shoulder. Turn down towards the mat. Find energy out your foot either by pointing or flexing. Really push the mat away. Draw the chest and the belly closer to the thigh. Breath in. Exhale, low lunge. Right foot all the way through. In our low lunge, we're going to move into dragon pose. So set the left knee down. Inhale, hands high. Breath out. Inhale, shift your weight back. So now your left hip is stacking over the knee. On your exhale, you're going to sink down. Not all the way, about 80-90%. Find strength in this pose. The feet are actively pushing into the mat. And then there's a scissoring action of the knees. So the knees are scissoring like they're going to come closer to one another. Find a root lock, which is an engagement of the pelvic floor. Option for hands to be lifted, energy at the fingertips, but soft shoulders, or option always to have the hands on the thighs or even blocks. Stay here, breath in, breath out. Let's see if you can engage a little more. Can you scissor the knees a little bit more? Draw it up, pelvic floor, soften shoulders. And breath in and breath out. One more breath in. Exhale, sweep the hands down to the mat, working into half splits. I do like to use blocks and half splits. Grab them if you have them, or if you don't want them, no worries. You're going to shift your weight back, straightening out the right leg. Take the time to set yourself up. So in half splits, there's a tendency to sag the hip over to the side. So take a look at your left hip, bring it back over your knee, and then you're going to scissor the knees once again. So your left hip is going to draw forward, your right hip is going to draw back. Squeeze the right thigh, flex the foot. Let's start with a long spine. So think about length. So no rounding just yet. The chin is slightly dipped. So your tailbone to crown of head, beautiful line of energy. And our focal point here is the right hamstring of the back of the leg. That's where you should be hopefully feeling that. If it feels too intense, know that you can always bend your right knee a little bit. Now, if you're making your way down to the mat with your hands or even forearms, just try to maintain this flat back and keep scissoring the knees. So scissor the knees like they're going to come together. Soften the shoulders. Notice your left hip. If it drifted off to the side, bring it back over the knee. Breath in, breath out. Breath in and breath out. We're going to flow through this. Actually, we're not going to flow. We're going to go into dragon and half splits once more, but we're not going to stay maybe quite as long as we were the first time around. Breath in. Exhale, bend your front knee and shift the hips into your dragon. Option for hands on blocks, hands on thigh, hands lifted. Again, find the energy and the strength. Scissor the knees back together. Engage root lock. Pull up from the bottom on your pelvic floor. Scoop the tummy. Focal point is straight ahead. Breath in. Breath out. So your left hip is reaching forward. Your right hip is pulling back. If that's an easier cue than the knee scissoring, you can think about that as well. Breath in, breath out. One more breath in. Exhale, half splits. Straighten the front leg. Adjust. Hip over knee, scissor. So left hip reaches forward, right hip pulls back. Lift the chest, flat back to start. Option to stay here with a flat back or round. Breath in. Exhale to round if you want. Allow your forehead to drop towards your shin or your knee. You can always maybe bring your forearms onto blocks. You can play around with them if you have them. So you're rounding, but you're still trying to really maintain that integrity in your hips of that kind of push and pull or scissor action. Keep the energy out the right foot, flexing, squeezing the thigh a little bit more. Breath in, breath out. Looks nice, Brett. Brett's the only one I can see. Looks good. And on your inhale, go ahead, kind of reverse dive, lead with the chest. Exhale, bend into your front knee. Shift the weight, low lunge, so left knee off the mat. Low lunge, we're going to work right into pigeon. So hands on the floor, tuck the right foot under. Always have the option to keep the foot under the body if you have knee issues. If you do not have knee issues, take the right foot, sweep it off to the left side of the mat. Now, in the past, I've kind of cued more of trying to flex this foot. I've since changed my mind on that, just for the integrity of your knee. So if you can flex your foot and that does not bother your knee, you can go for that. I actually prefer my foot to be more pointed. So I want you to feel what is best. And then check out your back leg, hip, knee, ankle, same line. Roll the shoulders back. Scissor the knees again. So imagine those knees are coming together, or the hips are leveling. Your left hip is reaching forward, your right hip is pulling back in space. That's going to lift you off your mat a little bit more. Feel free to engage pelvic floor, root lock, pulling up from the bottom. This is our more active variation of pigeon. Really pushing the mat away, leveling the hips. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, lift up a little higher. Exhale, come into more passive pigeon. Down on the forearms, head on a block. Again, notice what happened in your hips as you settle in, if you've kind of sagged off to one side or the other, so if you can find balance. If you have the arms extended, just soften the elbows to help release and let go of the shoulders. Breath in for 3. Breath out for 3. Do one more breath in. Exhale, walking the hands in towards the body. You're going to shift your weight onto your right glute and kind of roll open in this half V shape where the right foot is tucked in. Left leg is strong. Squeeze your thigh, flex. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, we're going to go forward, but try to maintain the flatness in your back. So we'll round here in a little bit. Start with a flat back like we did in half splits. Chin is slightly tucked. Again, you're thinking about length through your spine, growing the spine long. Our focal point here is the left inner thigh, left hamstring area. You can always have your hands on blocks. in and breath out. Feel free to stay with this flat back variation. Or if you want, maybe start to round and come down a little bit. You can always put your forearms down on blocks if you want to go a little bit lower, but maybe don't have the space to go all the way to the mat. Or option is to make a T with your blocks and then rest your head. This becomes a little bit more of a restorative pose then. So lots of variation here. Notice if your left knee is starting to like roll in to the center of the V. Take your kneecap and roll it back. So the kneecap is facing up towards the sky. Foot is flexed, thigh is strong. Breath in, breath out. Let's do one more breath in. On your exhale, walk your hands in back towards your body. Go ahead and cross the ankles, easy seated. Easy seated, either sweep the feet aside or roll all the way back into your table. So we're going to do that whole series on the left side. Find downward facing dog. You're allowing the chest and the belly to gravitate closer to the thighs. Tailbone is lifting. Consciously pressing the knuckles down. Inhale, left leg high, reach the toes up. Square the hip, so left hip, left shoulder, turn it down. Exhale to low lunge, left foot all the way through. Moving right into our dragon, dropping the right knee down. Inhale, hands rise, breath out. And on your inhale, press into the front foot, so you're shifting your weight back. Stack your right hip over your knee. And on your exhale, sink down into your dragon. About 80 to 90% of your max. We're not going all the way down. And then we're finding this knee scissoring action. So the knees are scissoring together. That's going to help kind of lift you up. As you lift, engage pelvic floor root lock. Option for the arms to be lifted with soft shoulders, but still energy at the fingertips. Option for the hands to be on the thigh. Option for hands to be on blocks. So you're scissoring the knees. Also think about your right hip reaching forward, your left hip pulling back. And then really press, press, press into the floor. One more breath in. And exhale, bring the hands down to the mat or to the blocks. You're going to shift into that half splits. So you're straightening the left leg. Check out the right hip stacked over the knee as much as you can, or it's in alignment with the knee. Find the scissor action where the knees are scissoring together. That means your right hip is pulling forward, your left hip is pulling back. Squeeze the left thigh, flex the foot. Find flat back to start. So take your chest, lift it up, shoulder blades come together and down towards your tailbone. Chin is slightly dipped so that there is energy out the crown of the head to tailbone. You can even close your eyes here if you'd like. Really try to maintain that scissor action where the knees are moving towards one another the entire time. So lots of strength within that. You can also think about your core. Navel pulls in, rib cage comes back together. Do one more breath in and breath out. On your inhale, let's shift to our dragon pose. Remember, we're going to go back in, not stay quite as long. So finding your dragon. Hips shift forward. Take your arm variations, hands on blocks, hand on thigh, hand lifted. Scissor the knees, right hip reaching forward, left hip pulling back, press into both feet. So that means the bottom of the left foot as well as the top of the right foot. See what happens in your right thigh if you really press into the top of your right foot. Stay here, breathe. Breath in, breath out. Last breath in. Exhale, shift into half split, straightening the front leg. Find your form first. So hips and knees, engage thighs, feet flex, scissoring, lifting the chest, starting with flat back. Breath in. Exhale to round if you want. If you prefer the flat back variation, stick with that. Always have options. If you want to come deeper, you can. But no, we're rounding now. So go ahead and bring your forehead towards the shin, towards the knee. Maybe your hands come all the way to the mat. On your inhale, reverse dive, lift the chest, float to low lunge, bending the front knee, tuck the back toes, low lunge, moving right into pigeon. So left foot, switch. Left foot either tucks under the body or sweeps off to the right side of your mat. You can decide how it feels with foot pointed or foot flexed. Check the back leg. You want alignment, hip, knee, ankle. And then we're scissoring the knees. If you've noticed, this is the theme, scissoring knees and pulling on hips. So scissor the knees, right hip pulls forward, left hip draws back. Soften the shoulders, focal point straight ahead. Engage root lock, pulling up from the bottom. Stay here a little bit longer. See if you can maintain that action. This is our active pigeon. Maintain the action the entire time. Knee scissor, hips draw forward and back. Breath in, lift up a little more, press the floor away. Exhale, come into more passive pigeon, maybe on the forearms, maybe head on a block. Find balance. So if you have a tendency to shift, my body, I always kind of shift to the left. So I'm always trying to work my weight back to the right side. Notice what is true for you. And then we're softening. We're softening all the places that don't need to be held. Let's do one more breath in. And exhale, walk the hands in towards the body. Shift your weight onto your left glute. We're going to roll open into our V shape, opposite leg. So the right leg is extended out at an angle, and your left foot is tucked in. Hips should be facing me. Inhale, sweep the hands high. Engage the right thigh, flex the foot. Exhale, go forward, but maintain the flat back to start. And I want you to feel your sits bones. So in this pose, there's probably a tendency to kind of shift your weight to one side or the other. See if you can feel those bony points on the mat equally. So you're hinging at the hip, going forward, flat back, just like the half splits. Check out the right kneecap. Kneecap is facing towards the sky. There might be a tendency for it to want to roll in. I want you to keep trying to pull back, pull back. Breath in. On your exhale option, to kind of round and go forward if you want. If you're really feeling kind of the juiciness of the flat back variation, stay there. You can always bring your forearms on blocks if you want to go in a little bit deeper but can't come all the way down to the mat. Again, check out your right leg, see what happened. If your kneecap is starting to roll in towards the center of the V, see if you can shift it back towards the sky or towards the ceiling. Last breath in. And exhale, walk the hands in towards the body. Take the right ankle, draw it in, and then straighten the legs. We're going to work into boat pose, which I think we haven't done for a while. If you have a block or even a pillow or a squishy ball, bring a block in between your thighs for your boat pose. And then sit up nice and tall so you can feel those sits bones again. Shoulder blades come together and down the back. Hands along the sides. Now, if you're really engaged here, you should feel your core working. Squeeze your block or your ball. If this is enough, stay. If you want, start to lift your feet. You might have to do a little bit of adjustment on your block. Lift the feet so that your shins are parallel with the mat. Hands along the sides, engage this block, squeeze, drop the shoulders, lift. Stay right here, hold it, hold it, hold it. Keep offering your heart center up, 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 up. Breath in. And exhale, slowly release. We're going to move right into cobblers or bound angle pose. Soles of the feet to come together, either close or further away from the body, totally your choice. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, hinge at the hip, go forward. So we're maintaining flat back, dip the chin. Think about energy again, crown of head to tailbone, making space. Breath in. Exhale, slowly walk the hands back to our boat pose. Grab the block if you want it. Block in between the thighs, sit up tall, feet on the mat to start. Drop the shoulders. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. If this is enough, stay right here. Otherwise, lift the shins. Try to bring them all the way up, parallel with the floor. Notice if you have a tendency to kind of roll onto your low back. Try to lift. Offering your heart center. Breath in and breath out. Now, if you don't have a block or a ball, notice if you have a tendency for one of your legs to drift off to the side. Breath in. And exhale, slowly bring the feet back to the mat. Cobbler's pose or bound angle. Soles of the feet come together. Maybe you have space. Maybe they come a little bit closer. Maybe you don't want them closer. Breath in, lift the chest. Exhale, now we're going to round the back. Forehead draws towards the big toes. And as you breathe, really draw the breath into this kind of middle upper back area. Feeling your rib cage expand. Breath in. Exhale, slowly walk the hands back up. Bring the knees together. If you have a belt or strap, have that handy. So bring the knees back together. Sit up tall once again. Stack shoulders and hips. Hands along the sides. Breath in. Exhale, rolling off. Now we're going to articulate and bring one vertebrae down to the mat at a time. At the very bottom, go ahead and grab your strap or your belt. Kick the left leg up. Wrap your strap around the ball of your left foot. Right leg goes long. Squeeze the right thigh, flex the foot even. And now grab both straps in the left hand. You're going to take your left foot and bring it over and maybe slightly up. So think about your foot dropping towards the ground, but also coming up towards your face. So your left arm is going to be a little bit more strong and active. Right arm can extend out to the side. Option for the left knee to be bent or strong and straight. Breath in and breath out. So ideally, you'd want both hips or kind of your low back on the mat equally and both shoulder blades on the mat equally. In this pose, there's a tendency to roll to the left. See if you can kind of counterbalance that by shifting the weight back into the right side of your body. Breath in and breath out. Breath in, breath out. On your inhale, bring your left foot back up towards the sky or the ceiling. Grab both straps with your right hand, keeping the hips or the glutes anchored down to the mat. Take your left leg and cross over the body. It doesn't have to be a lot here. Now, if you want to roll all the way over onto your right hip, you're welcome to. In this position, keep pulling the left foot back towards your face again. Knee can be soft or strong and straight, foot flexed. So ideally, we'd be hitting some like IT band area on the outside of the left thigh, maybe wrapping around even into this glute. Breath in. Breath out. Last breath in. And exhale, go ahead, bend your left knee. Let's release that and switch sides. Take your strap and wrap it around the ball of your right foot. Left leg is long, engaged. So the left thigh is strong, foot is flexed. Grab both straps with your right hand. Trying to maintain your glutes on the floor. Sweep your right leg off to the side, but then foot up towards the head. So your right arm is kind of pulling your foot closer to your face. Take your left hand, press down on the top of your left hip to anchor yourself. Feel your low back and your shoulder blades. You're trying to maintain them on the mat equally as much as you can. Do breath in, breath out. So there's still energy out both of the legs. Both of the legs. Squeeze your right thigh, flex the foot. See if there's space. Go in a little deeper. And on your inhale, take your right leg, kick it all the way up towards the ceiling. Grab both straps with the left hand. Again, the glutes are anchored. And now the right leg is going to cross. I like to cross mine over just a little bit to hit this area. If you want to roll over all the way onto the left hip, go for it. If you want to go in deeper, then the right arm extends. Try to keep the energy in both legs. So these are still active poses. They're not passive. Both thighs are strong. Both feet are flexed. Last breath in and breath out. Bring the right foot back towards the ceiling. Bend the knee. Take your strap off. Set it aside. Hug both knees into the chest, hands on the shins, or maybe forearms on shins. You're going to round, 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 round. Tuck the navel into the spine, chin to chest, round, round, round. Push, push, push. And on your inhale, let's find Shavasana, sending the legs and the arms long. I'm going to check our time. All right, we're going to go into Shavasana, and then we're going to come out and do a little meditative practice to kind of end class, but we're going to start with our Shavasana. Letting the hands fall wherever is comfortable. Let's find our even breath. Inhaling for 3. Exhaling for 3. As you breathe, use the exhale to soften. Let yourself melt into the floor. Yoga people, go ahead and bring some movement back into your body. Wiggling the fingers and toes. Keeping the eyes closed. Gently roll over onto either side. And take a moment here to pause. And slowly come into easy seated, keeping the eyes closed. Sitting up nice and tall, allowing the palms to be face down to ground or palms up to be more open, receptive. And for the last little bit of our class, we're going to do some visualization, some meditation. You're going to bring your awareness down into your pelvic floor, your tailbone area. Just imagine a ball of light sitting down in this space. See if you can connect with it, feel it. It can be any color you desire. And now on your inhale, you're going to take that ball of light, breathing in. It's going to draw up your spine, all the way up through the solar plexus and the heart center and the throat and the third eye. Bring it right into your middle brain. So let that ball of energy, that ball of light sit in your middle brain. On your exhale, you're going to imagine that ball of light kind of like expanding and going out from your middle brain out into the universe. And on your inhale, there's going to be a new ball of light that draws up from your tailbone, drawing it all the way up through the spine, middle brain. Exhale, your ball of light expands out from the sixth and seventh chakras. Inhale, ball of energy at tailbone, draw it up. Exhale, expand it out. Inhaling for 3, draw your ball of light up. Middle brain, expand it out for 3. Keep flowing with your own breath and body. Inhale, draw it up. Exhale, send it out. Inhale up. Exhale out. Inhale up. Exhale out. Keep flowing with this visualization, this meditation. But anytime this does not work for you, feel free to just focus on the breath. Take a few more rounds, drawing this light up, expanding it out. And then to end this practice, keeping the eyes closed, bring your ball of light back down into your first and second chakra areas, your pelvic floor, the base of your tailbone. We're just going to leave that there. Keeping us connected to the earth. Eyes closed, bring your hands to heart center, rub the palms together. Build a little bit of heat in the hands. And then bring the palms to rest over the eyes, letting the head be heavy in the hands. It's kind of regrounding us after our meditation practice. And also sealing our practice. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. On your exhale, keeping the eyes closed, bring your hands back to heart center. And then to end, bowing forward, sealing with namaste. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. If you want to unmute yourself and chat, you can. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.